I'm going to wait until a few more of you come on here. I have a folk tale I want to share with all of you tonight. If you guys could just hit the thumbs up button on this video. Happy Valentine's Day, by the way. And if you guys could tell me, do you like the blue? Do you like the black for this blackout reading? Do you like the bubbles? Or do you like the mauve? Just tell me in the comments below. The first 3 comments I'll take, and I'll choose a color and we'll get started. This is going to be deleted within 24 hours, so choose what you like in the comments. Just let me know, and we'll go on from there, and I'll get started once I see the bubbles. Oh, the mauve. Okay. Bubbles, bubbles. Okay, great. Even though this is a folk tale, you want the bubbles? Folk tales are pretty serious. There's a lot to learn during folk tales. We'll give you guys one more second to decide. You know what? I'm going to go with the mauve, and I'll tell you why. Mauve goes with my new website, colors at AndreaCox.com. So if you haven't signed up for my newsletter, sign up there. And I'm going to wait until we have 10 people in the room. And I'm going to get into something that I think all of you will be able to relate to your lives right now. And it's going to guide each of you on making a very important decision that you have to make over the next 48 to 72 hours. I think a lot of you are you really do need to hear this, because I needed to read it. And whenever I feel compelled to read something, there's a reason. I'm going to get into some intuitive messages after this, but first we're just going to wait for the room to fill up a little bit more. So I think that probably everyone is out for Valentine's Day. I myself went out earlier. Okay, we're going to wait for 2 more people to enter the room. Just wait for 10 people to enter, and I'm going to read this folk tale for all of you. And I'm going to get into some intuitive messages that I think you guys are going to find very, very valuable. Let's see. Just going to wait. It'll help when you guys like the video and comment. Tell me where you're tuning in from. It will help the room fill up even more. Just going to wait 1 more minute. Okay, I'm going to get into this. What if we all spoke our truth? Once upon a time, there was an emperor who was extremely interested in having the best, highest quality clothing available. His whole world evolved around it, and he didn't care much about anything else. One day, several common men came to see him and told him they were the world's best weavers. They would make him the most beautiful fabric for his outfits. The emperor was thrilled. They told him they made fabrics from a very special thread. The garments would appear invisible to anyone who was stupid or not doing their jobs. The common men ordered some of the finest materials, and secretly they sold them to get the money. They fooled the emperor and his servants by pretending to weave with nothing. The emperor fired all his staff that couldn't see this imaginary fabric, as he believed they were liars and not doing their jobs. It became easy for them to lie to keep their jobs. Soon they all said they saw the beautiful threads transform into amazing textiles. The emperor ends up getting dressed in nothing at all, believing that his garments were invisible only to cheaters. He started a procession where his servants walked behind him and their heads raised to hold the cape. The whole town admired him and his new clothes, until one young boy yelled that the emperor had no clothes on, that he was in fact naked. And with those words from an innocent boy, the bubble burst. And the truth was out. Those few words from that innocent boy burst the bubble, and the truth was out in the open. In this story, great wisdom is revealed. The emperor wanted to keep his position and did not hesitate to get rid of anyone who threatened his authority. The common men were getting rich by fooling, scamming, and playing mind games, and the masses were prone to follow the crowd and accept the untruth of the authority. The servants were afraid of losing their jobs, and only the child who had no agenda whatsoever was able to speak the truth to the emperor. The young boy is the voice of consciousness in this story. In his naivety and a life deprived of long-standing programming and fear, he speaks his truth. What if we were all, this boy, able to speak our truths and to not be held back by the old ongoing story? Brave enough, bold enough, free enough. The brain can be manipulated. Our hearts cannot. Our stories can hurt us daily by holding us back from evolving, healing, and growing. They are the roadblocks from hell and the obstructions of our true essence. What are the stories we are telling ourselves? That we are limited, that we aren't pretty enough, that we aren't tall enough, that we can never be truly healthy, that we've wasted too much time being unhealthy, that we aren't good enough, that we don't have the skills needed, that we don't have the right resources, that we don't have enough money, that we are too young or too old, that we need to be perfect before we begin, that nobody loves us, that we are sick and we will never get better, that we are alone and life is tough, that we have too many people around us and life is too chaotic, that we were abused as a child, so we have to suffer our whole lives, that we always sabotage relationships, that it's in our genetic makeup, that we are not smart enough, that we are not good enough, that we do not have enough money and never will, that our families don't love us, or that our families hover over us too much, that nothing ever good happens to us, or that we are weak. The list goes on and on and on. It's a reflection of our deep-rooted childhood trauma and past life karma that keep us stuck and stagnant in the same place. Did you hear anything in that list that resonated with you? That the people that you're always with will always do you wrong, that you can't trust anyone, or that you're overly trusting, that people don't want to be around you, so you overgive, or you don't give at all because you don't want to be hurt. You must be willing to see with your eyes open and to look at some less than flattering timelines, events, patterns in your life that have kept you stuck and stagnant. Make a heartfelt decision today to not follow in the footsteps of others that have self-sabotaged and have not gone after their dreams because they didn't believe in themselves. Make the change today. If your businesses are not bringing in money, squash them and start a new business. If your relationship partner is not treating you kind, if he's abusive or she, women can be abusive too, if he speaks to you unkind or she, ditch them. You are the teller of your story, but don't allow the negative story to become your lifelong future. You have the ability to change. We all do. You have the ability to transform your health. I've done it myself, and I've done it for thousands of clients. I see it every day, every single day. And you have the ability to discern truth from fiction about everything that is going on in this world today. Most of the things that we see on social media are fake. I know. I have a quite a large social media audience plastered around the board. Do you think I wake up looking like my pictures every day? No, most of the time I'm running around the neighborhood, the gym, the grocery store with a bun on top of my head in sweatpants, snow boots, and a zip-up sweatshirt with dog hair and green juice stains. I don't wear makeup every day. I don't look like a goddess every day. I look like myself. Most of what you are seeing right now is part of a matrix that is making you believe that you aren't good enough. And the fact of the matter is, you're too good. I am not good enough is a myth that was either created in a past life that you carried the trauma into this lifetime for, or brought up as a child because you had a parent that didn't treat you a certain way, because you didn't come with a handbook and they didn't know any better. So then you carry that into your relationships and you sabotage your relationships thinking you're not good enough, when really we're drawn to people for specific reasons, whether we've had a past life with them or whether we have a soul contract with them. You know, our soul family is a very, very real thing. We really do pick our parents before we come to this earth. We pick our parents because we pick the lessons we want to learn. And if your soul family, your soul tribe, what is your soul tribe? Your husband, your wife, your children, your friends, your neighbors, your animals, your lovers, etc. If they are not treating you the way that you are supposed to be treated, you have a choice to leave and get a new soul family. A lot of times, we go through periods when we trade out our soul family, the people we have soul contracts with, where we go through something called the dark night of the soul. Everyone goes through it, and it's a time of being alone, deep introspection. Everyone should be allowed to go through that without judgment, without hatred, without being picked on, without being forced out of their house, everyone has a period of time in their life where they go through a dark night of the soul. It's usually when one cycle of their life ends and a new one begins. And we should all be allowed to go through that in peace, because it's a very healing time. Welcome in Fort Worth, Texas. But the one thing we shouldn't do is judge people because they are not like us, because they don't overgive like we do or undergive like we do, because they don't overextend or because they have healthy boundaries, right? Because they have healthy boundaries. Maybe they don't want people all up in their business, right? Maybe they have a huge social media following and don't want people, they want to keep their circle small. If you take something, or if you take everything as a direct reflection on you, and, oh, this person must not like me because they're pushing me away. No, maybe the person likes to be private. Or maybe someone really puts themselves out there, and maybe you find that offensive. Maybe that's their nakshatra in Vedic astrology. Maybe they have a nakshatra that has them perform. When we judge another, what we really need to do is hold the mirror up to ourselves. Because what we don't like in that person is something, it's a direct reflection of something we don't like in ourselves, either that we're not expressing, that we're hiding from the world, or deep inner wounds, childhood wounds, past life trauma wounds, etc., that we aren't putting out there and we're not working on, and we're not doing the soul work on, the shadow work. What is shadow work? Our shadow is what comes out when we suppress it for too long, right? So for example, and I'm just throwing this out there, a man who, has been in a committed relationship for 40 plus years and never cheated and always has been loyal, and then suddenly goes off and cheats because he never rebelled against his parents. He's always been good. He needs to do the shadow work in order to heal, right? Or a man who looks at porn on the internet all day, etc., and has a beautiful wife at home and children, etc. He needs to do shadow work. Or, a woman or a man who's obsessed with their ex and keeps looking back when really they need to move forward. There's all kinds of shadow work that needs to be done in order for us to heal. I can help you with that. But here's one thing I have a strong disdain for. Judging other people because they have a different lifestyle or opinion than yours. Judging other people because they live their life differently than you do or have a different belief system. That's control. That's the emperor who had no clothes on, and no one was willing to stand up to the emperor, right? Because he was the emperor, until someone said, hey, the emperor has no clothes on. Look, it's right there. The emperor's not wearing clothes. The little boy. So let's translate this into our own lives. There's a lot of abuse going on. I won't get into it, but say for a fact someone has stalked you online, someone has tried to affect your business, etc., and you call them out. That's calling out the emperor that didn't have clothes on. Say you know for a fact that certain systems put in place should not be there. That's calling out the emperor that had no clothes on. Say you know for a fact that certain chemicals and things are being put in certain foods, etc., and you start speaking about it. That's calling out the emperor that had no clothes on. Say you require peace on a daily basis and you're not getting the peace you need, and you call it out openly. That's calling the emperor out for having no clothes on. Speak your mind. Speak your mind. A lot of things that are going on today, if you really think about them and you really dissect them and you really weed through them with a fine-tooth comb, and I can't say too much on here because of, you know what, censorship, etc., a lot of things don't make a lot of sense, do they? And if you go back and look at history, go back and look at history and ask yourself, how is history repeating itself? Oh, interesting. They gathered all those people and told them to go over. Oh, okay. And they all died. Interesting. Look at history. Look at history. Study things that happened. Study the Holocaust. Study Agent Orange. Look into what the company's name was that produced the baby powder that killed millions upon millions of women with ovarian cancer. Look up that name. That's all I have to say, you guys. It's usually the child that screams that the emperor is not wearing clothes. In that folk tale I just shared, that is compared to the crazy person that goes against the crowd, that walks the other way. You cannot look at what is going on in the world today and say that this is legit and this makes sense. You cannot. And shame on every one of my colleagues in the wellness industry that have stayed quiet. And God bless those people that spoke out, even the ones that have been shut down and silenced, deleted, etc. God bless them, because they are the truth tellers. They are the ones that know the truth. And the truth is not being shared on your 5 o'clock news, folks. I'm sorry, it's not. It's not. There's a reason that every house I've ever lived in has 4 or 5 bedrooms, 3,000 square feet, and not one single television. There is a reason for that, because it's lies. Study the Holocaust. Study Agent Orange. Look into what company it was that created the baby powder that killed millions of women with ovarian cancer. And that's all I have to say. And as far as the emperor that has no clothes, if you're going through something in your life on a personal level where you need to speak up, and I'm just going to use this as a random example. Say you're at a picnic or a family gathering or barbecue. Hopefully it's a vegan barbecue. And, you know, you're there with your significant other and someone says something that pokes fun at you and they don't stick up for you or whatever. Speak up then. Speak up right then. The moment you feel disrespected, speak up. I have a really shitty habit when someone offends me of not speaking up, of cowering, of shying away, of putting it back on me, like, oh yeah, it must be me. I'm sorry. Sorry, I must be overreacting. It must be me. And I don't do that anymore. I don't do that. Sometimes it comes off as very loud and unstructured, but I really say what I need to say now. I've learned that over the years. I've learned that. Even in my own family, even if my own family members say something I don't like, I'll be like, you know what? I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing. I don't like it and I don't want to put up with it. So speak your mind. Be the child that called out the emperor for having no clothes. And do your research on history. Because a lot of you are blindly, I can't say things because I don't want to be censored. A lot of you are blindly following a crowd into darkness, when if you would look back at history, you would see the light. When I went vegan 23 years ago in Ohio, nobody was vegan. I said raw food. People thought I meant sushi. Everybody thought I was crazy. And I told my mom, I said, Mom, I'm telling you, in 20 years, everybody's going to be going vegan. Now everybody is going plant-based. But I knew, because it didn't make sense for us to be eating dead, decomposing animals. It didn't make sense. I thought, this can't be beautifying. This can't be an anti-ager. This can't be healthy. Once we put something dead and decomposing in our bodies, it's dead and decomposing in our bodies. This is odd. There's protein in plants. There's protein in fruit even. This is so odd that we eat dead animals and we kill animals for food. Sure enough, 20 years later, even fast food places are coming out with vegan choices. Thank God. So wake up, do the research, don't follow the masses, wake up. I love you guys. I'll delete this in 24 hours because, you know, we love to be censored. And if you want more information on health, you can go to my other YouTube channel, 𝐒𝐇𝐀𝐍. Some of those videos have over 100, 200,000 views. And I love you guys. Bye.